What is up, guys? Pie Muffin here, and today we're gonna have a different kind of video. Like, yes, I do have the Tales of Crestoria stuff in front of me, but we're more gonna be talking about the fans and what they've been saying ever since the English version got announced. Now, this isn't really, I usually have a general idea. Well, I do have a general idea of what I want to talk about here, but I don't really have a scripted way I'm gonna talk about this. We're just gonna kind of talk for a little bit. Because some of the stuff I'm seeing is just really not okay. Like, I'll first off start by talking about, like, yes, the way English Tales of the Rays got shut down sucks. It sucks that, it wasn't promoted the way it should have been. Tales isn't... Here's the thing. Gacha games that you summon for characters are just naturally more popular than games where you summon for equipment, because there's tons of different types of characters. Hence why Asteria is what, despite Asteria being out longer, it's still vastly more popular than Rays. That being said, Tales is just not as widely known a series out here, and that's why it failed. Even if, I would even say, even if Bandai did the right, promoted it the right way, I still feel like it would have died, maybe not as soon as it did, but I don't know if it still would have made it to the 1-year anniversary. Because people need to realize the reason these games die is because players aren't paying. So if you want to blame anybody, blame, people for not whaling, as much as they should have. And it goes back to the whole summoning for weapons thing. There's really no need to, even if you're playing the Japanese version like I am right now, there's no need to go crazy. Once you pull one Mirage Art on a banner you want, you don't have to get it to level 100. The whales do, but it's not necessary. Whereas other kind of mobile games that kind of rely on you getting duplicates of the same character to make the character more powerful tend to have more of an influx of people who are willing to kind of put money into it. So, the fact that Tales is just not naturally as popular out here, and the fact that it was an equipment game that you summoned for, like Tales of Link. The English version of Tales of Link lasted for, around 3 years. And it did fine. It died in the end. It didn't, okay, and people are trying to use this like, oh, 2 Tales games, died so fast. And it's like, Tales of Link lasted for 3 years. That's not fast. I feel like 3 years is a decent time for a gacha game. And obviously the Japanese version lasted for 4 years because it started earlier. But yeah, the whole thing with Tales of the Rays is just those points I brought up, is that, one, it was an equipment gacha. Equipment gachas usually don't do as well as character gachas. And 2, Tales is just not as popular out here. Like I said, if Bandai used their Twitter, to kind of promote it better, it might have done better, but honestly, Tales of the Rays, the English version, only had a Facebook page. They didn't even have a Twitter. So, and most of the people who would have cared would have saw it on Twitter. So, I mean, that was a mistake. And then, it not really being updated. They didn't really interact on the Facebook page either with the fans. It was like literally, every time there was a new banner, they'd make one post about it, and that was it. But yeah, so moving on from that, people are already, crapping on Crestoria, as much as they possibly can. Like, not everybody, and it's obviously mostly the English fans who really don't know what they're talking about. So, there are people who, and we'll get into some of these comments in a bit, and if you're one of the people who made these comments, I apologize for putting you on blast, but, I mean, a lot of stuff that's being said here is just kind of dumb. But yeah, so basically, we're already starting out with all this kind of hate and stuff, and it is mostly the English fandom, and we get these fans who, most of them didn't play any of the mobile games. A lot of them are just very casual, Tales fans. They play, a console game when it comes out. They may not even beat it. I've seen a lot of fans who are just like, oh, I thought this was a new console game. And I agree, they should actually, because there is nothing on this Twitter that says it's a mobile game. At least in these, like, their pinned tweet doesn't say it's a mobile game. And over here, in their bio, doesn't say it's a mobile game. So that is kind of, and I don't think there's anything down here that even says That it's a mobile, yeah, I don't see anything. So that is something I feel like, you know, whoever at Bandai is managing this channel, I would obviously recommend that you make it clear, because there are a lot of people who don't really see that. But even still, it's like, once you know it's a mobile game, it's like, you really gotta kind of just lay off. Like, obviously, the English version of Tales of the Rays was not promoted the correct way, and I understand, you know, fans being hurt by that, especially if you're someone who put money into the game, which I did put some money into English Tales of the Rays, so obviously I feel kind of gutted for that. But you have to realize, every single mobile game you play will shut down one day. You know, no matter how much money gets put into it, it will eventually die, and something else will be introduced to take its place. You know, Asteria, it's been going, we're almost at the 5-year anniversary. Like, yes, we're at 5 years, but Asteria is not going to exist forever. You're not going to get the money back you've put into a game like that, despite what mobile games you play. That's the whole thing when it comes to a gacha game, is you put in the money knowing that one day you're not going to have what you put into it. But let's kind of go into some of these comments right here, because some of these are, let's see, we've got some good ones. You know, I'm so excited, beautiful, looking forward to playing the game. I responded to this guy. This is what I was kind of talking about, or guy or girl, I don't know who this was, but they were asking for online co-op, assuming this is a console game. But even if there was a console game, I don't think online because Tales is a single player game. There doesn't need to be online co-op. Obviously, you know, you can do the local stuff, but I feel like if they went the online route, it would just become too convoluted and complicated, and it would fall into the category of crappy online game. So I think it should stick to, you know, single player game, but that's not what this is about. So yeah, it's turn-based and it's mobile. Obviously, for those who don't know that, I even posted a screenshot here. This is what the gameplay looks like. It is going to be kind of like Opera Omnia. You know, you've got your abilities. Each character takes a turn. Obviously, it's not going to be like Tales of the Rays. They're not going to have 2 mobile games that play the exact same way. Yeah, and then, you know, this is a... This is a fair comment right here, talking about how, you know, on an official website on Twitter that it's a mobile game. I'm assuming Bandai just assumes that people have heard of Crestoria. The real Tales fans who have been following, you know, stuff for a while would know that Crestoria is not a console game, but I agree they should have actually said that it's a mobile game on their website, because those who haven't been keeping up with all the news won't know that. You know, this deserves to be a console release. Again, what I'm seeing a lot of is that a lot of people are being like, oh, because this game is being made, that means we're not getting a console game. It's like, no, in any gaming company, there are different departments of stuff that do things. There's a department that works for the mobile games, and there's a department that works on the console games. Just because one is coming out doesn't mean the other one's going to take longer to come out. That's not how this works. So the console game that they teased at Tales Fest last summer in June, or I think it was June, is still being worked on. Like, that's a console game. That wasn't them talking about Crestoria, because Crestoria was revealed there too. There is a console game that's being made, but you got to realize, and this is another thing, fans in the West who are complaining, look at it this way. Berseria hasn't even been out for 2 years in the West. We got it January, I believe it was January 29th of 2017. I remember because I got it day one when it first, you know, came out. So it'll be 2 years, you know, in a month. But even still, you know, that's only 2 years. It takes a long time to make a good console game, and honestly, the longer they take, the better. Like, if they come out with a Tales game every 3 years, I don't see that as a bad thing. Like, if you're wanting a Tales game every year, like, yeah, they could pump it out, but it's going to be crappy gameplay, crappy story, and you're not going to feel satisfied. So it's more important to, you know, wait. And what's nice is we have these, obviously, you know, this doesn't really apply very much if you're someone who absolutely refuses to play mobile games or refuses to play mobile games in Japanese. But we have 3 mobile games that have really good stories that are keeping us busy during this wait time. But like I said, if you're not into mobile games, that's fine. But I still think 3 years for a Tales game is not a crazy long time to wait. Yeah, but now why mobile though? I'm hoping this isn't like Tales of the Rays, where you don't get to explore town, talk to NPCs. See, this is where it gets kind of weird. So obviously, this person says this is not a main title; it's a spin-off with a standalone story. But then it is a main title. It has its own story, and it's not a crossover gacha game. So it is a main title. It's just a main title on a mobile device. So I mean, that's how I see it. This person says you hate phone games, bring it to console sometime. That's never gonna happen. Because it's a mobile game. You can't make a gacha into a console game. What a aesthetic, that's good. Okay, you like the video style. You're not touching any mobile game. I mean, then you're missing out. If you're not someone who plays mobile games, like, that's cool and all, but I guess that sucks for you. You're not gonna. I mean, I guess you could watch the story on YouTube when people upload videos of the story or something. And then this person, they gave up supporting Rays in a few months. Highly doubt this will stay around too. And there's another thing. We don't know how they're gonna do this game. So the people who are going into it with a negative attitude from the start is just like, just stop, or just don't even. Why are you even commenting? Like why are you even here? Because we don't know what their plan... Their plan could just be to release one version and then have multiple language functions. If there's multiple languages on just one version, the game's not going to die. The game will die when the Japanese version dies, and I'm sure this game will be a hit in Japan. Because Japan is all about being on the... Nintendo Switch and gacha games are a huge thing in Japan because people in Japan are always on the go. They're always moving around. And it's good to have something in their hand that they can go with. So... saying that, this game is going to die if we only have one version is completely wrong. This is awesome. And granted, I could hope it's better than Berseria. Okay, well, you have your own personal opinion about not liking the story, They can't just go with the full hero every single time. Okay, this person says, hope it's not a mobile game. It is a mobile game. Yeah, a lot of people are just not seeing that this is a mobile game. Like I said, it's the fault of the actual Twitter page because, they're not putting it's a mobile game. Yep, mobile game, I'm out. Everyone's out because it's a mobile game. Do you guys not? Okay, that's a funny meme. Okay. Okay, this person's just saying they hope you actually have to pay for this. No, because it was actually, if you go to the Japanese to Crestoria thing and go to like one of the first posts, it's the pre-registration thing says that you get like summon tickets. Okay, yep, everyone's like, oh, mobile. Okay, anyways, that's all we really have to say on that. And then over here, if you watch the stream, you would know that this happened. It's kind of funny that they actually subbed it again. But the main thing I want to just kind of say is, like, all of you who are like, oh, I only play console games, like, that's fine. It's cool if you only play console games, but mobile games are what are really big right now. Gacha games are huge worldwide. It's what makes money. So any kind of publicity that Tales gets in general, you should be happy about, because if these games do well, that means they'll continue to do the console games and be able to do more with them. So complaining that there's another mobile game coming out is stupid. You should be like, oh, okay, this isn't really my thing, but it's really cool that that Tales is getting this kind of, support and publicity, because obviously this is what's popular right now. Like, obviously, I would never want this. I don't think any fan would ever want this. But if they put, like, a Tales character in Fortnite, that would be publicity. And obviously, like, if they put, like, Yuri Lowell in Smash, that's publicity. Any kind of publicity we can get, because Tales, obviously, ever since Zestiria, Zestiria wasn't very well received in the West. It's still apparently, very loved in Japan, despite the gameplay issues that it had and the story issues, it is still very popular over there. So, especially over here, I feel like Tales has kind of, had like a dry spell. And even Berseria did okay, but I feel like it didn't do amazing over here. So, the more publicity that Tales can just get worldwide is better for us as fans. And I think that's pretty much all I want to say on this. I'm very excited for this game. I understand people not really wanting to be into mobile games, but you have to understand that, Bandai is going to do what Bandai has to do in order to... It's a company. It's there to make money. So if we have to wait, another year, if we don't get a Tales game till, the end of 2019, which is most likely going to happen because their new title hasn't even been teased yet. We don't even know what it's going to be called. And we probably won't even... I would wager we will probably get a release at Tales Fest 2019. So, during the summer, around June. And then I could see it coming out in maybe November or December in Japan at that time. And then we probably won't get it out here in the West till like February or March. So... of 2020, so I would not expect a new Tales game on console until then, but the publicity that we will get from these mobile games is really going to help our franchise grow. So that's all I really have to say on this, and I hope that, some of you people who left these comments see this video, because honestly, a lot of you just kind of need to get your heads out of your asses and realize that, they need to do what they need to do to make this series popular again, because obviously it's had kind of a dry spell. That's why I think it's smart that they are releasing the remaster for Vesperia. A lot of people, and myself included, complain about how Vesperia kind of gets this overly done fan service when it comes to Vesperia. They get over-popularized, whereas other Dawn of the New World and Vesperia came out the exact same year. But yet, we're not getting a remaster of Dawn of the New World. We're only getting a remaster of Vesperia because it's much more popular, and because Dawn of the New World was an escort title. But we should welcome any kind of stuff like that so that we can keep getting Tales stuff in the future. But that is it for my rambling on this. I really hope, people start to see that they should just be like, okay, let's be happy about this. It may not be something I want to play, but let's be happy that our franchise is getting this kind of love. And then one more thing, I kind of need to... someone left a comment. They deleted the comment right after they left it on my Crestoria English release video, saying that Crestoria in Japan was releasing on the 14th, and that is not accurate. We are getting a stream that's going to talk about Crestoria on the 14th. There has been no confirmation from any Japanese article, website, nothing, that Crestoria is releasing. They could surprise us and release it on the 14th, and then, the English version would come out sometime in 2019. But there is no actual proof that it is coming out on the 14th yet. We have to wait and watch the stream to see when it's going to be released. I'm sure we'll have an official release date by the end of that stream, but I don't think they're going to release it the day we have the stream. I just don't see that happening. But leave your comments down below. Let me know what you all thought. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you all next time.